Pinned in a mountain kill zone seconds from death, a Navy SEAL team waited for the final bullet, until a single hidden shot cracked from the rocks. Who pulled the trigger, and why did he appear only when hope was gone? The mountains were older than memory. Dust clung to the rocks, dry as bone. Thomas moved slowly, keeping his rifle tucked close, his eyes cutting across the valley floor. His broken watch ticked once, then stopped again, the second hand frozen at a meaningless time. He wore it anyway. A reminder that not everything worked, not even him. They had been chasing a ghost. A commander hidden in mud walls and shadows. For 3 days they walked, ate dry rations, and whispered only when necessary. The radio hissed in his ear, a faint thread connecting them to a sniper far away. Her voice was steady, but Thomas heard the strain. The compound came into sight. Mud walls, jagged ridges above it. It sat in a bowl of rock. No exits, except the one they had walked toward. He crouched low, the weight of it pressing on his chest. Something was wrong. Too quiet. The dust on the path ahead was undisturbed, like no one had walked there in weeks. "Hold," came the hand signal. Morrison, their officer, froze them all. They sank behind stones, rifles pointing outward. Thomas's fingers brushed his empty wallet inside his vest. Nothing in it but a folded scrap of paper with his daughter's scrawled name. He had stopped carrying photos after Iraq. Photos burned too easily. "Kill zone," Morrison muttered. Thomas swallowed. He felt it too. The cliffs loomed like the walls of a trap. Movement flickered. The sniper's voice snapped in his ear. Multiple positions, not Taliban. Foreign fighters. Professional. He could hear them before he saw them. Metal, shifting against rock. The whisper of boots not native to this place. Then a crack. A bullet hit inches from his head. Stone chips cut his cheek. The sky split open with fire. The valley roared. Fire raked down from the cliffs. Thomas pressed his chest into stone, heart hammering like it wanted to escape. Muzzle flashes sparked above, neat arcs overlapping. Not wild fighters. These men knew geometry. He heard the grunt. Davis had been hit. Thomas moved on instinct, dragging his kit, sliding over grit until he was beside him. Blood seeped fast through the man's sleeve. A through and through, shoulder torn but not shattered. "You're good," Thomas said, though his voice trembled. He pressed bandage to flesh, ignoring the storm of bullets. The ground shook. A mortar round slammed 50 meters short. The enemy was ranging them. Another minute, and they'd be precise. "Smoke!" Rodriguez's voice. A grenade hissed, gray curtains spilling across the rocks. For a moment the fire slackened. "Move!" Morrison's command cut through. They bounded back, 2 at a time. Thomas half pushed, half dragged Davis toward the thicker boulders. The smoke stung his lungs but kept them alive. Behind it, bullets sliced blindly. Thomas heard foreign shouts. Chechen maybe, or something close. Cold, hard voices. Not like the locals, a symbol pressed on his mind. His broken watch. Useless, but strapped on anyway. Just like them, trapped in a valley that served no purpose except death. They reached the cluster of rocks. Dust filled Thomas's teeth. He spat and pulled Davis into cover. Rodriguez opened fire, his machine gun rattling like a desperate drum. Above them the sky shrieked again. Another mortar. Closer. Rocks burst, grit rained down. The earth told him one truth. They couldn't hold here. They moved uphill. The only way out was into the teeth of fire. Thomas carried Davis's weight on one shoulder, rifle in the other hand. His muscles burned, but he didn't stop. Rodriguez laid down thunder from below. Each burst bought them heartbeats. Thomas's boots slipped on scree. He forced himself up. Dust coated his tongue, turning his breath into ash. Halfway, Williams stumbled. For a breath, Thomas thought he was dead. But the young man rose, shook dust from his helmet, kept climbing. They were machines wound by fear. The cave mouth gaped to the left. Black hole in stone. From it came death. Muzzle flashes flared inside like lightning behind clouds. Chen's voice cracked over the net. "At least 4 inside. They've got your lane locked." Thomas pressed against a boulder. His empty wallet dug into his chest. He thought of his daughter's handwriting inside, fragile against the chaos. The symbol mocked him. Everything precious he carried was paper thin. Williams primed a grenade. His hands shook but steadied at the pin. He looked at Thomas. The question was in his eyes. Now. But before the nod came, the mountain itself spoke. A single shot, different, clean. Not from cave or cliff, from far away. One fighter in the cave slumped. Another shot, and another body dropped. The cave fire faltered. Thomas's skin prickled. Someone else was here. The hidden rifle cracked again. Echo rolled down the valley. Enemy positions flickered, then fell silent. Whoever it was, the shooter chose only the dangerous ones, those covering the SEAL's escape. Thomas risked a glance. Far across the valley, higher than he thought possible, a figure shifted between rocks. No uniform, civilian clothes, but the rifle was no hunting piece. Long barrel, steady rest. Guardian angel, Kumar whispered. Don't trust it, Morrison said. But even he sounded shaken. The fight changed shape. Fear leapt into the enemy. Thomas heard foreign voices shouting, urgent, panicked. Their trap was bleeding apart. They pushed closer to the cave. 3 bodies sprawled in the entrance, each struck with perfect precision. Blood darkened the sand like spilled ink. Inside, silence. Then a scrape deeper within, someone crawling, still alive. Thomas's pulse thundered. The broken watch on his wrist caught a stray glint of sun. It flashed once like a signal. Time doesn't move here, he thought. Only death moves. Then another mortar screamed, closer than any before. The blast threw him flat, ears ringing, dust choking. His wallet slipped from his vest, tumbling across stone. He grabbed it with shaking fingers, clutching the thin leather like a lifeline. When his vision cleared, he saw shapes moving on the ridge above. More fighters. Too many. Rodriguez's gun had gone silent. Silence never lasts. Then it came. The crack, deliberate and cold. The mysterious sniper fired again. One by one, the new fighters dropped. Precision no SEAL could deny. Overwatch, confirm? Morrison called. Chen's voice carried awe. He's good, 6 kills in half a minute. Whoever he is, he's saving us. The fight tilted. Enemy fire shrank. Panic spread in their ranks. Move to extraction, Morrison barked. Thomas helped Davis again, half carrying him toward the clearing where they had marked the bird to land. Dust swirled. Heavy rotors somewhere behind the ridge. As they ran, Thomas glanced back. For a heartbeat, he saw the figure silhouetted against sky, rifle resting easy, watching them. Then gone, swallowed by stone. The helicopter roared in, throwing a storm of sand and grit. The team piled aboard, wounded dragged, weapons still hot. Thomas collapsed against the metal floor, clutching his wallet and his broken watch. 2 useless objects, yet they were the only proof he was still human. The radio hissed. A voice cut through. Calm, with an accent Thomas couldn't place. Falcon 6. This is Guardian. Get your people out safe. Static swallowed it. Thomas's heart clenched. They had been seconds from death, and someone, some ghost, had chosen to keep them alive. The days after the ambush blurred. Thomas sat in the debriefing room under fluorescent lights that hummed louder than the colonel's voice. Papers slid across the table. Photographs of rocks, bodies, weapons. Nothing explained the man on the ridge. Nothing explained why they weren't all buried in that Afghan valley. A challenge coin lay on the steel table. Black. A mountain silhouette etched on one side, a set of crosshairs on the other. Latin words curled along its edge. Semper Vigilis. Always vigilant. Thomas turned it in his hand. Cold metal, heavy though it was small. The colonel said it belonged to no unit that officially existed. Off the books, shadow war kind of thing. He said the word like poison. Ghost Mountain. Rodriguez leaned against the wall, arms folded. Doesn't matter who he is, he saved us, that's enough. But Thomas couldn't shake it. The sniper hadn't missed. He hadn't even hesitated. Precision wasn't luck. It was knowledge. Whoever that was had known exactly when they needed him most. Weeks later, when the team rotated out of the valley, Thomas kept the coin tucked inside his wallet. It pressed against the paper with his daughter's name. Two fragile symbols bound together, one of war, one of love. 6 months passed. They returned to the same mountain range under different orders, weapons cache. That was the cover story. The real reason whispered only through encrypted channels. Foreign fighters were back. The same ones. New faces joined the team. A communications specialist, Park, sharp and restless. A young demolitions expert named Mitchell, eager in a way that reminded Thomas of boys who hadn't learned what war really cost. Chen stayed. She wanted another chance to watch the ridges. They found the caves after 4 days. Too perfect. Fields of fire. Good sightlines. Thomas felt the same weight in his gut as before. His broken watch ticked once, then stopped again. Always stopping, always warning. Movement, Chen said over the radio. 30 figures North Valley, not locals. Thomas dropped behind cover. Boots scuffed near him. Rodriguez sliding into position, jaw tight. Park's headset crackled. Encrypted chatter, multiple channels, military grade. The knot in Thomas's stomach hardened into stone. The trap was closing. Then came the sound he didn't expect. Gunfire echoing through the valley, but not at them. The 30 men scrambling, shouts of panic. He raised binoculars, saw precision fire raining down from unseen ridges. Figures dropped one after another. Guardian? Chen whispered, almost reverent. Multiple shots. More than one rifle. 4, maybe 5. Coordinated arcs. Thomas clutched his wallet as if to steady his heart. Inside, the coin pressed against paper as though reminding him. Always vigilant. But the valley was shifting. Black helicopters appeared over the northern ridge, rotors chopping the sky. No markings, no flags, soldiers sliding down ropes into the same valley already burning with fire. And in his headset, calm as ever, a voice he thought he'd never hear again. Falcon 6, this is Guardian Lead. Stay where you are. The field is ours. Thomas's hand trembled on the radio. Guardian Lead. The voice was the same but stronger now. Not a lone man in shadows. Someone commanding, directing. Thomas's team froze, torn between awe and suspicion. Multiple Guardians, Chen breathed. 4 rifles minimum. Perfect fields of fire. Morrison studied his map, lips thin. Grid reference 77 Alpha. Guardian wants us there. Thomas checked the coordinates. A shallow depression half a kilometer away. Good for extraction. Good for survival. But the helicopters above weren't idle. Park's headset hummed with hostile chatter. They're deploying troops. Same encryption as the ground force. The battlefield tilted again. The Guardians rained death, but the enemy adapted. More men poured from the birds, securing positions in waves. The valley was a chessboard, and Thomas felt like a pawn. Move, Morrison ordered. They sprinted, boots crushing dust. The broken watch on Thomas's wrist rattled against his skin. His lungs burned, but he kept his grip on Davis's shoulder, guiding him over jagged rock. Behind them, chaos. Explosions ripped where mortars landed. One helicopter tried to pivot, door gunners searching for targets. Then something Thomas had never imagined unfolded before his eyes. 4 rifles spoke at once. Shots placed like signatures. The helicopter stuttered mid-air. Tail rotor sheared clean off, cockpit glass shattered. Flames licked its side. It spun, smoke trailing, before collapsing into the mountainside. The explosion thundered through stone, a roar louder than belief. Chen's gasp came over comms. They just shot down a bird with rifles. Coordinated shots. Thomas stumbled, stunned, then ran harder. His empty wallet bounced in his vest, the coin and the paper striking together like flint. Symbols of 2 worlds colliding, family and the ghost who saved them. They reached 77 Alpha, a hollow shielded by rock. Rodriguez set his machine gun, barrel smoking. Then the radio lit again. Falcon 6, this is Dustoff 77, we're inbound. E to 3 minutes, relief surged through the team, but Guardian Lead's voice cut in sharp as a blade. That is not your bird, repeat, not your bird. Take cover. Thomas's blood ran cold. The false bird swept low over the ridge. Black paint, no flag. No friendly signal. The machine guns in its doors rotated, hunting. Down, Morrison roared. They scattered into rocks just as tracer fire stitched the clearing. Dust fountained where the bullets struck. The air tasted like iron. Then the mountains spoke again. 4 rifles from 4 unseen guardians. The helicopter's engine burst in fire. A single round split the pilot's canopy. The machine faltered, twisted sideways, then fell in a bloom of flame and steel. The guardians had saved them again. But Thomas knew something was different this time. The voice that followed wasn't calm. Falcon Command Guardian Team is compromised. Artemis has our location. We need immediate extraction. The word froze Thomas. Compromised. For the first time, the ghosts needed help. The valley burned. Smoke coiled into the sky. Thomas pressed his broken watch tight against his wrist as though he could force it to tick again. He gripped his wallet, coin, and paper pressing into his palm. His daughter's name. The Shadow's mark. 2 truths bound together. Coordinates. Morrison demanded into the mic. Static, then Guardian Lead's voice. Urgent. Fraying. Grid 42, echo. Fast. We won't hold long. Thomas met Rodriguez's eyes. Both men knew. This wasn't chance anymore. This was war layered under war. A game bigger than their orders. But for Thomas, it was simple. The ghosts had saved him once, then twice. Now it was his turn. He tightened the strap of his useless watch. The symbol of broken time. For him, time had ended the moment the first bullet cracked that Afghan stone. Everything after was borrowed. Let's go, he whispered. Boots pounded stone. Dust rose. The valley narrowed ahead. Somewhere in the smoke, unseen but waiting, guardians fought for their lives, and Thomas ran into the fire to find them. The valley funneled sound. Every step Thomas took echoed. Every breath rasped against stone. Smoke throbbed in the distance where the helicopter had died. Rodriguez covered their rear. Chen shifted her scope, eyes never leaving the ridges. Park muttered coordinates, fingers trembling on her radio kit. Guardian's voice came again, hoarse now, fractured. Falcon, we're hit, 2 down. Holding the line, Thomas's chest locked. The ghosts weren't shadows anymore. They bled. He pressed his broken watch against his wrist. Still stopped. Still useless, yet he couldn't throw it away. It was him, damaged but moving anyway. The team crept toward Grid 42 Echo. The path narrowed into a gorge littered with debris from earlier battles. A burned boot, a cracked helmet, symbols of men swallowed by war, then gunfire ahead. Sharp, fast, not random bursts, measured shots, the rhythm of professionals. Thomas slid behind a rock, lifted his rifle. He saw them at last, 4 figures in dust-stained gear. No patches, no flags, faces hidden behind scarves. Their rifles were long, heavy, scarred from use. They moved like mountain cats, firing, shifting, vanishing, but blood stained one man's sleeve. Another slumped behind cover, clutching his side. The Guardians. Real. Mortal. Thomas's throat closed. He had imagined them as myths, ghosts, but they were here, fighting and falling like any man. Falcon, we need that bird now, Guardian Lead barked. His voice was cracked but still iron. Morrison answered, we're moving. Extraction inbound in 5, too long. Thomas knew it. He could read the fight. The enemy pressed hard from 3 angles. More troops poured in from the north ridge, faces covered, weapons clean and foreign. Artemis Park intercepted their chatter. They want the Guardians alive, bounty. A cold weight slid into Thomas's stomach. 50 million reasons. Every mercenary in the world would come. He fired, cutting down a man trying to flank the wounded Guardian. His rifle barked, hot casing clattering into dust. The Guardian looked up once, eyes met his. Nothing spoken, but something passed, recognition, gratitude, a bond hammered in fire. The SEALs joined the fight, guns spitting lead. Rodriguez's machine gun tore arcs through the gorge. Chen picked targets cleanly, 1 shot, 1 drop. The Guardians shifted, adjusting their fields. The rhythm changed. For the first time, hope bloomed. But Artemis wasn't done. The air shrieked. A drone cut across the sky, small but armed. Its belly opened. A missile dropped. Down. Morrison shouted. The blast ripped the gorge, stone shrapnel shredding earth. Thomas hit the ground hard. His wallet spilled from his vest, flipping open. The folded paper fluttered, almost lost in the smoke. He clawed it back with bloody fingers, pressed it against his chest. The coin inside clanged against rock. Black. Heavy. Guardian's mark. Another missile shrieked overhead. The drone circled back. Guardian lead, Morrison barked. We can't hold this gorge, Static answered. Then the voice again, calm even through pain. We'll hold. Get your men out. No, Thomas whispered. Louder. No. You don't get left behind. Not after what you did. His watch caught a shaft of sun, broken face glowing. Time frozen, decision burning. He rose from the dust, rifle steady. Around him men shouted, bullets cracked, the drone screamed. But Thomas saw only the Guardians, figures who had saved them from certain death. Now bleeding, cornered, hunted, he stepped forward. Then we fight together. The drone dove again. Shadows poured from the ridge. The gorge filled with smoke and fury. And in the storm, Thomas felt something shift. Not just a mission, not just survival. A war within war. A brotherhood unspoken. The final shot had not yet been fired.